Hey, welcome to another episode of Three Conservative Gimps. We got a blockbuster show today. I guess you all have known that what the big elephant in the room is. Yes, former president and candidate Donald Trump has been indicted by a New York grand jury. So uh, we're going to be talking, excuse me, about that and the implications and the fallout on this indictment. And so let's get the show going. A little change tonight. Lloyd won't be able to join us. Judy had a pretty bad night. So Lloyd's been sleep deprived, so he's pretty tired, and I don't blame him. We want Judy to get well soon and get back to a better sleeping pattern there that'll help Lloyd and both of them. So we got a great substitute tonight all the way from the great state of New York, where this indictment happened. Let's welcome, he's always in charge. It's Charles in charge. Welcome, Charles. Good to have you.
You got that wrong. I'm Lloyd's New York cousin, Floyd. Hey, everybody.
How's the weather there? Is it better than it was last night?
Well, yeah, last night it was pretty stormy. Today it was just cold.
Okay.
Just flat out cold, but nice, bright, sunny, beautiful cloudy skies everywhere.
Good. Well, I got a chance to fly the Avata, and fly's good. All I have to do now is to,
pack her up.
Go in the, in the goggles. You gotta go through and adjust the controller because to turn on the video, I couldn't get it to turn on. I mean, I could take pictures, but even that wouldn't work. So I gotta go in and configure, the controller. You know how you gotta map out all the buttons.
Okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So do that because I'm taking that drone with me to the Philippines this Thursday. So exciting stuff. Let's say hello to all the folks in the chat. We got Mickey McH. We got Drone Rob. Hey, Rob. Thanks for coming. Chris Wedgeworth. And we got this guy, Charles Kaluski. Wow. And we got Dominic Papa Sergio in the chat. And we got Chuck Kovachin. Welcome. And Lee Beesing of Yellow Rose Drone. He's still in Stuart, Florida. He is watching us at Sticks Billiards in Stuart. So thank you guys for coming, and hopefully we'll get a few more stragglers coming in and watching the show. So, all right. So the bombshell exploded. We've got an indictment. Obviously a political witch hunt, which even the feds dumped this investigation 6 years ago. And, I mean, it just, an overzealous DA in New York, Alvin Bragg, who is trying to get Trump on what is really just a misdemeanor, which wouldn't prevent him from running for president. But he's trying to set it up as a felony by saying, "Oh well, he used campaign funds to
yeah."
quiet this lady down, uh, Stormy Daniels. But I remember a few years ago we got, how about uh, John Edwards? Remember how his fall from grace when he used
Yeah.
campaign funds
Oh, I
to
didn't know that was
hush?
campaign funds. I thought it was just the fact that he was cheating on his wife.
Yep, it was both. And and if you go further back, how about Bill Clinton and Paula Jones? He gave Paula Jones $850,000 to hush
Yeah.
up this,
Yeah.
eh, and
It,
how
it-
all of this it's a big jam, and all it's going to do is going to help Trump. I believe. What's your your view on that?
well, as long as they don't actually convict him of anything,
Mm-hmm.
it it should help him.
Yeah,
Because I think the timing of this thing is really because the grand jury was only set up to run until the end of April. So really now it's their time to either put up or shut up. And they
right.
decided to, up the ante regardless of the outcome.
Yeah,
Because what they're hoping for is even if they can't pin anything on him, that this will tarnish him in the eyes of um, possible independent
unaffiliated
voters.
voters.
Yeah, independent voters.
Right, right.
People who haven't really made up their minds yet.
Yeah, that's right. And also, I mean, it's New York. It's a blue state,
Yeah,
and
and New
I
York City
mean,
was like Trump's home base.
yes,
For ages.
right. So I mean, it could likely be a conviction, but if there is a conviction, it'll be overturned by the either the state supreme court or it'll go to up to the Supreme Court where it'll
Well,
be overturned.
there was near the end of February, I thought it was, there were two DAs in Bragg's office that quit. They resigned from their positions, not just from the case, but from their positions, and I believe it was because they didn't feel there was sufficient evidence. And Bragg was even saying, look, I don't really think I have enough evidence here to prove criminal intent.
Right, right.
So if they do convict him, it'll well, it'll be dirty. Let's put it that
Yeah.
way.
Yes, that's right. And how, all of this came about because Trump's former attorney, Michael Cohen, is the one that testified to the grand jury, and I believe uh, he was convicted of perjury and has been disbarred. I mean, if it goes to trial, his testimony is going to be just worthless. They'll just
Well,
shred the guy to pieces.
maybe, maybe not. I mean, for those of for those of us that want to try to follow the law and do follow the law,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it should. But if I've also heard that there's a lot of exculpatory evidence in Trump's favor, and that obviously the grand jury is just ignoring all of that.
Yeah.
So
Or
if
they
they're gonna
didn't get to hear it,
what?
or they didn't even hear it.
Well, that's a possibility too. But I mean, if that's what they're doing with genuine evidence, can we really trust that a trial moving forward from this, if he does get convicted, will be a genuinely fair trial where
Right.
the rule of law will run the run the proceedings,
Mm-hmm.
or is it going to be a kangaroo court?
Yep. Yep. And Steve Knowles, I think, makes it a good point. I think it'd be very good, what we would call political theater. Mhm. So, I mean, this this is interesting because no president has ever been former or candidate running for president has ever been indicted, and so how come Trump is so special? I mean, what are they so afraid of? They can't that their ideas can't prevail over Trump. I mean, they are just, and it's not just Democrats. It's also people in the Republican Party, and this is my opinion. He's an outsider. He's never been in politics. He's never been a politician. Uh, got in the race, won the primary. Nobody thought he would win, and he did. Gotcha.
Yes, yes, I remember. Everybody saying, Donald Trump will not be president, will not be president, and what happened? He became president.
He became president, and then what happened? This Russian collusion and the golden showers video that
Hoax
came out.
nonsense.
Yep, and some of the comments that Trump made about women back in the the 70s or 80s, and it's like, come on, this is like
Well, not only
locker
that,
room talk,
but just like false stuff, things that he never said about the Republican Party. It seems like everybody seemed to latch on to that, and I mean, it all went viral, and it was like, I even confronted somebody about a Facebook connection who put that out there. And I said, he
Mhm.
never said that, and she goes, I don't care. I
Yeah,
don't care if it's not true. I'm going to spread it around anyways. And I said,
yeah,
well, morally, then you know better than what you're saying Donald Trump is.
yeah, that's true. Um, I always say, just because you repeat a lie over and over,
Yeah,
still doesn't make it true.
yeah.
You know. You can also remind your friend about
Well, we're not friends. We're we're not friends
uh,
anymore. I'm sure we became disconnected through Facebook shortly after that, and it wasn't me that did it. It
okay,
wasn't me that did it.
uh, yeah, well, and I feel since I was a stand-up comic for 25 years, only a handful of comics still talk to me, and they're all conservative or like-minded,
Hmm.
or they're apolitical and don't care, you know.
Hmm.
And some of my friends that I was very close to, all of a sudden, it's like, oh, well, he believes that. God, there's something wrong with him. He's evil. We can't be
I
friends with
know.
somebody that has views like that. So it just got, and I got called a racist by a black comic friend of mine. I'm like, going, what? You've known me all these years, and have I ever said or done anything racist? How come all of a sudden I'm a racist just because of my political views? And it just so
Yeah, it is. It
uh,
is. The whole thing became very sad.
yeah. hmm So I think this is going to blow up on the Democrat, and Trump may even win by a landslide. But here's the rub, though. Uh, Biden may not be the candidate because there's a couple theories where somebody might become president without
Yeah,
ever being elected.
yeah, yeah. I've followed
So,
that chain of logic. I even watched a
mm-hmm.
video of Gerald Ford talking about how that could settle out.
Yep, yep. I could see uh, Kamala Harris being told, hey, uh, it's best for you to take this high paying job with this consulting firm or something. They'll pay you a lot better than being vice president. And then they'll bring in someone who I think is either going to be a candidate or be his VP. And that's Jared Polis, governor of Colorado. And this guy, he's a chameleon because he just tells you one thing and does another. You know, he tells everybody, oh no, I'm more libertarian than liberal. Then he turns around, look at the state. It's falling apart because all this leftist garbage going on here in Colorado. So then Biden resigns, he becomes president, and since he doesn't have the baggage that Biden has, and even though Colorado is a crap state, it still has one of the top economies in the country. And that could be an Achilles heel to Trump because then they could say, oh, well, you're a homophobe. Because Polis is Colorado's first openly gay governor.
Didn't
By
they
the way,
already say stuff like
has
that
this,
about Trump?
he is the first governor not to live in the governor's mansion. He still lives as resident in Boulder, Colorado.
Now, do you know why that is?
Uh, well, I think because the governor's mansion is like, oh, it's an old building. Why do I want to live in it? Hey, it's a grand building. It has a lot of history. And he's just thumbing his nose because his house probably is more updated amenities and stuff. And plus, Boulder is a very liberal city.
Now, you said something a couple moments ago, and you'll have to forgive me, not being a Colorado resident. I don't know what's going on in Colorado. So you said something to me that on the face of it seems a little bit contradictory. So I would appreciate it if you clear it up, even if just for me. On the one hand, you
Okay.
said that there's a lot of liberal crap going on in your state, but it has one of the best economies in the country. So normally those two things don't go hand in hand. So
I
if you
know.
would be kind enough to sort of bring me up to
Oh,
speed on that,
oh.
tell me how that happens.
Yes, and I'm at a loss too. Either the information that I'm hearing is just not correct, but I will correct myself if I'm wrong. One of the things about Colorado is we are number one in auto thefts. We are number one in catalytic converter theft, and we are like up there on crime. Crime is out of control here. We had a school shooting of just last week, and now the Denver Public School Board has decided we're going to bring back, uh, SROs to, bring back, law and order to the school.
What's an SRO? Is that a police officer stationed at the
That's
school?
a security resource
Oh
officer.
yeah, security resource. Oh yes,
Yeah,
resource officers. Yep.
it's kind of like a cop on campus.
Yeah.
So, let me do a Google on top state economies, if you will. Uh,
Sure.
yeah.
While Art's looking that up, let me just say hello to Mickey McH and Steve Knowles if we didn't get you earlier.
Mm. Okay, hold on. Oh, yeah. Best economy. Okay, we'll do that.
Yeah, it's really hard to sometimes get information easily because you ask for one thing and you get a
Right.
lot of stuff that's similar but not exactly what you're looking for.
Wow, California is number 4.
Wow, like California, you'd think California would be better off.
And Colorado is number 1.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so let's see. Colorado unemployment rate of 3.3%, young population growth of 2.3%, taxes as a percentage of personal income is 7.9%, and
Wow.
percent per million residents is 626. Has the best economy, placing in the top 10 in every the metric evaluated. Has the highest business birth rate, labor force participation rates, and net migration rate in the country. So you would think with the liberal policies would be a net detriment to the state. I mean, look at California; their tax rate and property taxes are one of the highest in the country. People are fleeing the state,
Yeah.
and I don't understand how. Well, I can understand because they have the highest income rate uh, in the country. I think there's something like 16% of the national income. It's because it's such a big state.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, then you've got Hollywood there, which brings in insane amounts of money, and
Yep.
Disney.
Disney, and you got the Navy there. You know, you got Alameda and San Diego.
What are the
So the
nuclear vessels?
nuclear vessels. Yes,
Just had
and
to throw that in there when you said Alameda.
also, well, you got that, and you got Major League Sports, and it's a coast state that has a lot of ports. Where a lot of commercial goods come
Yep.
from the Pacific. I can understand that. And where are those Californians moving to? Colorado. And they're bringing in their
And
values
Texas.
as well. And
Yep. Colorado and Texas, and
yep. And we're also getting a lot of growth from blue states like Illinois, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Oregon, and Massachusetts, and New York. A lot of people moving in from those blue states.
there's been a huge exodus from New York City, especially.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, look at New York. I mean, it had the top state for representation in Congress. I mean, they had close to like 30 seats, and now they're down in the low 20s, high teens now.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And California lost 3 congressional seats,
Mm-hmm.
And Colorado gained a congressional seat. They've gained a congressional seat uh, in each of the last 3 decades. So,
A lot of shifts going on. Like at least like it used to be that Elise Stefanik was not our representative, and then within the last year that all changed, and we got some sort of a mailing from her that showed her district, and it's massive. It's almost like 25 or 30% of the state.
yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we call that gerrymandering, which was a term coined back in the early 19th century, where Congressman Jerry of Massachusetts, they would carve up the state
Yeah.
to where it looked like a salamander. So they call it gerrymandering. I mean, you look at some of the congressional districts in some of these states, and you're like, what?
Yeah.
How does that happen?
You got this little finger that kind of curls around, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. What? Who would
Yep.
do that?
Mm-hmm. Yep. But here in Colorado, like many states, the congressional boundaries are decided upon who has the power in the state at that time. Here, what's different about Colorado? That all changed uh, when there was an amendment to the state constitution where instead of Republicans and Democrats get to decide what the new boundaries are going to be, they have a commission which has uh, 3 seats, and they're all equally divided. So no one party has more control over the other. And you have your Democrat, Republican, and unaffiliated. But who are the unaffiliates? They usually swing left.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened is we got, well, the new District 8, was more competitive than the other districts in the state. The district I'm in became a little more competitive to where our Congressman Ed Perlmutter decided not to seek re-election, but we elected a former state rep, Brittany Peterson, to become our Congresswoman. So the more it changes, the more it stays the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where before, we would have these maps come up, and what happened? The Republican Party would sue, and then the state Supreme Court would come in and say, no, the Democrat maps look pretty good, so we'll go with the Democrat map. And who controls the state Supreme Court? Liberals. And who put them in
Obviously.
there? Going all the way back to Dick Lamb back in the 70s and Roy Romer, we've only had one Republican governor in the last 40 years.
I can't quite recall the last Republican governor we had. I can't remember if Pataki was Republican or Democrat.
Huh. Okay, well, that'd be an
Give
interesting.
me a quick sec. I'll look that up.
Okay. While he's doing that, I know Giuliani was the last Republican mayor of New York City, where I, people just got fed up with the status quo, and they decided to go with Giuliani. And even though the city council was pretty liberal, he was able to get a lot done, and he really cleaned up that city. It used to be a cesspool, especially Times Square. Nobody went to Times Square. It was so dangerous to go down there. Turned it around and made it a beacon of tourism.
Yep.
Now it's falling back into what it once was.
Doesn't surprise me. Yeah, Pataki was a Republican who was governor from 1995 to 2006 here in New York.
Okay, okay, interesting to know. And then you had two Cuomo's that were
Yep.
governors. You had Andrew Cuomo and who was the other one?
Mario, his
Mario.
father,
Yeah,
his father.
yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
I don't recall.
But
Well, of course, I was kind of a a lot younger then. I don't recall having problems with Mario Cuomo. But then again,
right,
I wasn't
I don't think the party had gone uh, full tilt to the
supposed to.
left at
Yeah,
that time. Yeah, I mean they were liberal, but they weren't socialist slash communist liberal like they
yeah,
are now,
yeah.
where their ideas are just so off the wall and antithetical to the values of what it is to be an American. You know,
Yes,
yeah, they just
common sense.
beat
And
it into your head what an evil country we are because we had slavery, but we haven't had slavery in over 150 years. That was a long time.
I think every nation on the planet has had slavery at one
Yeah.
point in time.
Hmm.
Nobody gets free from that.
Yeah. You're right. You're right. But is it a big deal in England? I don't hear anybody talking about England is such an evil country because they had
Well,
slavery.
they they had the Black Lives Matter movement over there, and it was sort of, I don't know if I can say that it was spearheaded, but being a Star Wars fan, I saw, I can't even remember his name now. He was the guy that played Finn in the Star Wars sequels, but sadly I can't remember his name. I saw him protesting big time over in England
Ah,
about,
okay.
about that kind of thing. So they had a Black Lives Matter movement over there that could have been just as robust as the one that we had here.
Right, right. Well, Steve Knowles would know about that. He could shed a little bit of light on that since he's one of the only panelists in the chat that is living in England. Dominic, he's on the other side of the world. He's down under in Australia. So, yeah.
Let me see. It was da, 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 da. Yeah, John Boyega.
Okay.
John Boyega. Yep. I don't know how much.
So,
I don't know how. I don't know how many of those actors are really gonna uh, be doing well after that. I know that who played Kylo Ren? Kylo Ren. Yeah, Oscar Isaac seems to be doing pretty well, and Adam Driver seems to be doing pretty well. Sadly, I don't think Daisy has done much, and I don't know what's going on with John Boyega.
right. Mhm. And Steve says, not for long. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Um,
So,
so, what else can we get into here? Um,
okay.
um,
Hmm. Yeah. That.
conservative
Oh,
talk, but is there any way that we can speak a little bit more positively? I, I, I know that's kind of tough, but if I don't want to bring too much negativity into the show. I want to try
Yeah.
and brighten things up if I can. Talk about
Hmm.
a few more happier things. Uh,
Right. Hmm. Uh, well, we could talk about how states that have conservative governors are doing much better than states that are run, you know, by Democrats. I mean,
yeah,
look at Florida
yep.
and
I was going to
Texas.
mention Florida. Florida is an excellent example.
Hmm. Yep. And
What about was it
well,
South
Florida
Dakota?
has
Christy
good
Nome.
weather, and
What about
it,
Christy Nome in South Dakota?
oh yes, yes, she's doing a good job up there in South Dakota. She was one of the few governors that didn't really shut down the whole state like
Yeah,
everybody else did.
yeah, and you know it didn't become a bloodbath there. It was
Yeah.
you know
Hmm. Yep. Nobody was falling out in the street dying from the Black Plague. Wasn't like Europe. Uh, so that's a good thing, and they have lower crime rates there too.
well, aren't they? Don't they have open carry there?
Yes, and that's true as well. Hmm. And I don't know about open carry. I think it's constitutional carry. I think they're on the verge of passing that in their legislature.
What
Leg-
open carry?
Not open.
They're on the verge of passing constitutional carry. Okay.
Right. Open carry is that that's kind of a bridge too far because you do have some zealots that like to go around carrying their semi-automatic rifles around in public display, and it's like, come on, man, why do you need to do that? All you're doing is drawing attention to you and giving the Second Amendment a view in the bad light. Yeah.
Well, I know there's some state out west that has open carry.
Okay.
I don't remember which. I'm sorry, I don't remember which one it was, but it was just usually what it boiled down to. Usually, what it boiled down to is somebody with a revolver on their hip. You know,
Right.
not an overt display of force, just like
Right.
something moderate.
Okay. I am looking that up right now, and do, 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 do. What is open carry? Open carry is to carry a firearm out in the open where it could be easily seen. This
Yeah.
typically means a handgun that is holstered or a rifle that's on a sling and
Yep.
carried in a neutral, non threatening way. Many states allow this practice. However, in some states, it's not common practice and can cause police to be called on otherwise law abiding open carriers. The gun can be loaded or unloaded depending on uh, local laws. So, okay, here are the states that have open carry, and that Alabama, Alaska, Arizona,
Yeah, I think that was the one. I think that was the one I was thinking of.
Arkansas, maybe, California, no, Colorado, yes, but that may be soon changing. Connecticut, maybe, Delaware, maybe, Florida, No. Hmm.
Hmm.
Open carry is prohibited even with the CCW permit. However, Florida does allow concealed carry with a permit. Okay. Georgia, yes. Hawaii, yes. Idaho, yes. Illinois, no. Indiana, yes. Iowa, yes. Kansas, yes. Kentucky, yes. Louisiana, Maine, yes. Maryland, no. Massachusetts, yes. But with
Wow.
a certain permit. Yeah. Michigan, yes. Minnesota, yes. Mississippi, yes. Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, Nevada, New Hampshire, all yes. New Jersey, no. New Mexico, yes. New York, no. North Carolina, North Dakota, Ohio, Oklahoma, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, Vermont, Virginia, Washington, West Virginia, Wisconsin, Wyoming, yes. Washington, D.C., no.
Oh well. Yeah, I'm pretty. As soon as you said Arizona, it clicked in my head. I remembered.
Yeah.
I remember because
Mm-hmm.
there was like an accompanying video with what I saw, and I can see that it was a small town, and it had it looked like it was hot out. Looked like it could have been Arizona, definitely.
Mm, right. Mm-hmm.
This is quite a few years ago when this video that I watched.
Right. So what else is going on? We've got some. Well, we have a mayoral race here in Denver. We've got a crap ton of candidates running for mayor, and here on YouTube, here I keep seeing ads for Mike Johnson. He's running for mayor. I don't know what kind of chances he's got, but he's the only one out of all the other candidates that I see his ads on YouTube.
Hmm. He's a conservative or
No, I think
no?
he was a Democrat state rep from Denver. Uh, uh, Being a conservative in Denver is about as rare as hen's teeth. Although they do have some enclaves in Denver where there are some conservatives that live there. Uh, like,
Perhaps you should use the word pockets instead, because that makes it
pocket.
sound like they're, small groups of men in black robes hiding in a
Yeah.
cave somewhere. I mean, that's no, that's not good. That's
Mm, yeah.
that
Okay.
ain't right.
Let's see. Let me look that up because the one that comes to mind is Charlie Brown. He was on the city count. Yeah, I know. But I met him when I first got into politics back in 2010, where this guy that I became friends with, and he's the one that got me into radio. And he was running for mayor, and I was sort of his campaign manager. And they went to a forum where Charlie Brown had a town hall, and this guy, I'm not even going to mention his name. He turned out to be a real flim flam job guy, and he wouldn't do any of the things that I suggested. So I just basically just sat there and said, "Hi, I'm Art Carlson, and I'm helping out this guy." And then I got fired the next day.
Oh wow.
And I'm like, "Ooh, that was yeah, yeah." And So, of course, what he did was instead of petitioning to get on the ballot, he was a writing candidate. So he got a handful of votes. And I thought, if he was really serious about it, all you had to do is get some volunteers, and he only needed a few thousand signatures. He would have been on the ballot. He didn't
Yeah.
want to do that. I'm like, oh, why do you need me? You know? So, so
Yeah, it's funny about how some people, I can't remember who this was, but it was I thought it was some Democrat, or was it a Democrat? Somebody who in the last election could have easily gotten on the ballot, and they didn't do it. They didn't use their resources properly, and this was
right.
I think for the presidential election.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it might have even been Bernie Sanders, because he's, even though he votes Democratic and everything and liberal, he's technically speaking an independent.
Yeah, he
He's always trying to
mm,
get the Democratic Party nomination when he's not even a Democrat.
yes,
I'm
that's
sure he would
true.
have had enough. While I wouldn't want him, in a national office, it seems silly that he keeps on doing that. He could very easily get the Independent Party nomination and be on the
Hmm.
ballot for the Independent Party. I'm sure.
Kevin Flynn is the only somewhat conservative on the Denver City Council. So he's the guy that kind of pulls the city council back from being, just
Crazy.
crazy, yeah, liberal.
And I wonder, I know that most people, the average person wants to be a decent person, but
Yeah.
I don't know what pushes them so far to be so. What about the left that draws in so many people that go there to think that they're doing something really good when
Well, they're
when
under they've been spoon fed this idea that it's all about fairness, about leveling the playing field, about uh, helping the little guy. And, but they're totally opposite of that, you know. Uh, But
that's
I
the only
think
way
a
to.
lot of Americans are middle of the road, right of center. They're not really political. They they just have this mindset. Well, I like this guy, even though he's a Democrat. He seems like a nice guy, and they vote for that Democrat. And then they'll say, "Well, this guy, he's a Republican. I like a lot of what he says," so they'll vote for him, and that's how we get where we are. Like, for example, the boss or the guy that owned the company that I used to work for, Rocky Mountain Orthodontics, he was a John Bircher. Those guys are way out in right wing. I mean, they're further right than libertarians. They're just oddballs. And so I just happened to look up the donations that he gave because he's a prominent businessman,
Mhm.
and those records are open to the public. And I looked up and I'm like, oh, he gave money to George Miller, a prominent liberal from California. Uh, So,
So he was actually helping somebody out of state.
oh yeah, because I mean, there's nothing to bar you from donating to a candidate out of state. Like I donated to Liz Cheney's opponent in Wyoming. I gave her a few bucks,
Yeah,
and
but you gave money to uh, Republican/conservative. uh,
Yeah.
unless I'm misunderstanding what you just said. This guy here is uh, far white, far right wing,
Mhm.
giving money to somebody on probably the
Well, and this is the rub about
mid to
Bircher.
far left wing.
Yeah, he just like what George Miller said, because
Oh,
George Miller, he'll say one thing and then do another thing, and it's like, you know, I I just couldn't understand why he did what he did, and also what he would do is every few months he would place an ad in the local paper. It would be a full page ad about getting us out of NAFTA and getting us out of the UN. This is all John Birch uh, stuff. I mean, it scratched my head, and it's like, and one of his vice presidents of finance was a guy named Sam Zackham, who became a state rep and then a state senator, and then later on became ambassador to Bahrain during the Reagan administration. So, and Sam would come and give a big speech about the Constitution to the whole company. They'd have a big meeting, and he'd talk about the Constitution. I mean, it's just weird how people uh, will donate to candidates. Like, I have a friend, he's a big time conservative, but he's friends with this Democrat who's a county commissioner. He did not like the Republican that was running against her. So what did he do? He donated to her campaign and put her campaign signs on his lawn. I'm like, oh, come on, dude. So it's just weird.
yeah, yeah. Andrew's asking how we're doing. I'm
Yeah,
doing
we're
fine,
we're
Andrew.
doing good. Thanks for coming. We got Ed. Love my drones. Good to see you. Thanks for stopping by, and we're almost to the end of our hour. And Charles, I want to thank you for filling in for Lloyd, uh, being the ever talkative person you are.
Well, I do greatly appreciate you asking me to come on. There's no way that I could possibly, you know, really even fill in for Lloyd, but you know,
You did a good job. Yep. And so hopefully things will work out. It'll be interesting to
yeah,
see how this indictment will. Trump will have to show up and get his mugshot and be fingerprinted and all that stuff. But I think it's in the long run, it's going to end up helping. And Chris says, "Good job, Floyd."
thanks, Chris.
So it'll be interesting. I'm starting to get this fatigue. I'm tired of this fighting between the two sides. I just want people that are
To do the job that they were
represent
hired
my
to do.
views to come together and turn this country around, get the economy going. I mean, it's not bad, but it reminds me of back when Obama was president, where the economy was growing, but such a slow snail's pace. Then Trump comes in, and all of a sudden, boom, the economy is going crazy. we got record numbers of minorities getting jobs, being employed. And then all of a sudden, we got this pandemic hit, and that's what just cratered the economy. I think
Yeah.
Trump got some really bad advice from Fauci, and he should have said, "Nope, I'm not going to shut down the economy uh, because this is nothing more than a virulent form of the flu."
Well, there was a
People,
lot of stuff. I mean, way more than we could get into here. Going on and stuff that we. Well, I don't want to say that we shouldn't get into it here, but if we did, God only knows what YouTube would do.
yeah,
So
yeah, true.
you know, I mean,
Well, thanks.
privately we could all talk about it, but not in a public forum like this.
Right. Yeah,
You know,
you
but
are correct.
but to go back to our the opening theme, so to speak, of the program. Um, I did stumble across. And I forget where this was. I don't know if it was on Facebook or if it was on MeWe, because I have accounts in both places, or even Twitter, where I found out where I read this. But I know that there are people on the left that are looking for Trump to be, you know, slapped around a little bit, so to speak, because they're
Mhm.
thinking that it's going to, take the wind out of the conservative folks' sails.
Right.
You know,
Mhm. Yep.
that
I
I
mean,
mean,
look at
I'm
Joy
absolutely sure.
Behar. She thought, oh, this is going to be great. He'll be defeated so easily. I'm like, oh, that is not very good uh, forward thinking there, because that's what you guys said the last time he ran. Back in 2016. Yep, yep.
Yeah, but wasn't there a big change in the voting between 2016 and 2020? And then we'll just leave it
Oh
at that.
yeah, that because of COVID, everything had to be done by mail. A lot of states changed their voting laws to accomplish this. Colorado that been doing um, voting by mail for several years. Almost 10 years, and so we've got it down. But that doesn't mean that it's foolproof, though.
No.
So hopefully voting this time around won't be so you know screwed up. Yeah. uh Andrew, I don't know if Fauci could be charged. I just want him to go away.
Hmm.
Yeah. All right, everybody in the chat, thanks for coming. Charles, again, I want to thank you for filling in, so
Well,
everybody doesn't have to hear me bloviating for a whole hour. So,
I thank you so much for inviting me on, and Lloyd. I hope I did the show some sort of justice. I know I'm usually pretty quiet, but I stepped into the breach, so to speak.
all right. Well, everybody,
And I
you
hope your
guys
wife
have
does
a
better.
great part.
I said I hope your wife does better, referring to what's her name, Judy.
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 Mhm. Everybody have a pleasant Good Friday and Easter weekend. Hope you find a lot of chocolate bunnies and Cadbury eggs, my favorite. Take care, everybody.
Good
Uh,
night, folks.
uh, not going to be doing a show for 2 weeks. I will be in the Philippines, but I will be doing a live stream for Artco Drone Solutions. Different night. It'll be Friday night after Ready, Set, Drone, where I will be live from Villa Feliz, James Tanner's home in Lipa City, Philippines. So everybody have a great holiday weekend. Catch you when I get back. Bye bye.